In the autumn of 1990, the editor of the op-ed section of the New York Times contacted the writer Paul Auster to make an unusual request. He had been thinking of running a short piece of fiction, one somehow illustrating the spirit of the Big Apple and its people, in the Christmas Day edition of the newspaper, and had thought of the celebrated author of the New York Trilogy as the perfect candidate to write it. Auster considered the offer for some time, and was about to turn down the commission when his attention focused on the small box of Schimmelpenninck cigars which he had kept on his writing desk at home. It reminded him of the small smoke shop in Brooklyn where he had bought them, and of both the store's proprietor and his relationships with a disparate group of regular customers whom he would interact with there from day to day. Taking this man and his business as his inspiration, he began to write, and on Christmas Day of 1990, Augie Wren's Christmas Story made its unusual appearance in the editorial section of that morning's New York Times. That same day, on the opposite side of the country in San Francisco, the director Wayne Wang bought a copy of the newspaper and was so impressed with the story that he decided to contact Auster about the possibility of developing it into a film. The two men, whilst admirers of each other's work, might initially have seemed like strange bedfellows. Auster's writing had been in the realm of postmodern metafiction, icily cold, noirish tales of existential questioning and doubt. Wang, on the other hand, was at this point associated with warm, quietly meditative family dramas such as Dim Sum and Eat a Bowl of Tea, works largely centered on the Chinese American community in his adoptive city of San Francisco. Despite their differences, however, it is possible to see some overlap. Wang's debut feature, 1982's Chan is Missing, had been an offbeat detective story, ostensibly centered on a middle-aged taxi driver and his quest to locate his Taiwanese friend, which ultimately unfurls into a probing into the conflicted nature of the Chinese-American identity. A pioneering work of early indie cinema, it not only proved to be enormously influential on the likes of Jim Jarmusch and Spike Lee, but its slyly Goddardian deconstruction of the trappings of genre cinema in some respects shared Auster's wry metafictional approach in his own literary output. It would be nearly 5 years between the publication of Augie Wren's Christmas Story and the release of its much-expanded adaptation Smoke in 1995, during which time Auster and Wang exchange ideas, treatments, additional characters, and new story strands. Auster's input was such that he would go on from being simply a consultant on the work to screenwriter, ultimately receiving a joint authorship credit with Wang, a seemingly simple gesture which caused an uproar with the Directors Guild of America, who were affronted that a writer should be given equal billing with a film's director. The final film will be shaped by both men's admiration of the Japanese director Yasujiro Ozu. Auster and Wang described Smoke as an Ozu film set in Brooklyn, and though not precisely mimicking his style, its aesthetic approach would be guided by the feel of his films, in particular the use of so-called pillow shots, moments of observational stillness, which serve not as a means of advancing the narrative or establishing location, but instead as isolated islands of introspective tranquility. If Ozu's films were about families, then Smoke is a film about the different kinds of families that might exist in contemporary urban life. In cities, we may not even know those who live mere feet away from us, but Augie Wren's smoke shop might just be one of those unlikely places which bring such strangers together. In this sense, it represents the intersection of the artifices of both of the film's co-creators, somewhere between Wang's examinations of family, ethnography and intergenerational conflict, and Auster's enigmatic novels of coincidence and the music of chance. As in Max Ophuls' The Earrings of Madame de, or Robert Bresson's L'Argent, the engine of the film is the passage into various hands of money, or something of great value, which may serve to illustrate people's physical proximity to each other, but also perhaps the psychological and societal barriers between them. Here, director of photography Adam Hollander's preference for more distant master shots over tight close-ups comes to emphasise these spaces in a visual sense. This also had the effect of giving the few occasions in which we do pull into a close-up greater emotional weight, most notably the point in which Augie finally gets to tell his Christmas story. As the camera moves in as he delivers his monologue, it is here that he, and by implication both Wang and Auster, offer a kind of mea culpa, that their acts of storytelling may be based in a lie, but sometimes that lie can be a kindness, or even a gift to those around them who are willing to listen.